night, wherever you are around the world. We are here for the third place game at the 2018 Roller Derby World Cup. I am Captain Malice. Alongside me today, Mr. Whistler. Hello, Mr. Whistler.
Good afternoon and good evening, and wherever you are, Captain Malice, today. We are here for the bronze medal game, as you mentioned. These two teams are going to be Canada in the red, England in the white, have met before at the Roller Derby World Cup. Both times in the semi-final, first in 2011, Canada victorious that time, 161-90, and then in 2014 in Dallas, Texas, England the victor, 156-112. So this is the rubber match, yes, and they are going for a medal.
So quickly, we're going to go through the representative of Team England, and we have, in fact, we're starting here with number 22. That is Roadrunner picking up the first lead here. Already out quickly on a scoring pass as number 66, Falcon Punch for Canada, trying to find her way through at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Falcon Punch now working towards the front, only has one more to beat now, and Onyeka Igwe to get through on the initial pass. However, a scoring pass already in progress for Roadrunner.
Roadrunner trying to find some space here as we hit the straightaway. Two blockers cause Roadrunner to stop and get taken down to the floor. Quick pose to the crowd as she calls the jam. First 4 points for England. As we are resetting here, let's quickly go through the England roster. 07, Ella Story, 101, Jack Attack, 11, Faye Roberts, 12, Alex Wild, 129, Just Jess, 13, Stephanie Maney, 22, Roadrunner, number 3, Onyeka Igwe, number 4, Delta Strike, number 40, Kid Block, 419, Philly, 42, Trisha Smakanawa, number 6, Missy Rascal, 666, Alex Valentine, 6955, Menace, 7, Kristen Lee, 8008, Gaz, 84, Katie Haverkell Black, 86, Terry Sutton, 888, Shaolin Scarlett. They are benched and coached by Ilbilly and Aisbit. Back on track, though, we have some action going on as we see a whip round the outside. Lead jammer awarded to England and Stephanie Maney.
Yeah, Stephanie Maney got hung up, but not enough by Palmer, and that allowed her to pick up the lead status. But right behind her, Shania Payne. Nice sidestep move there by Maney. No points for Canada, 1 point for England on the board. So England out after 2-5-0. Canada represented by 10-17, Bigley Smalls. 11-11 is Maya Mangleyu. 1-2-3, Miracle Whips. 1-3, Alcatraz. 1-3-1, Alexandra Evans. 13-49 is Razor. 16, Palmer. 183, Lever. 19, LaBrosse. 210, Boxcar. 231, Crazy Squirrel. 24, Shania Payne. 303 is Kanishiwao. 420 is Mel. 604 is Sarah Ekholm. 658 Hughes. 66 Falcon Punch. 88 Maiden Sane. 99 Polish. And 9999 is Mons. Bench run by Jess Bandit and MC Flyby.
And we have a third consecutive lead here for Delta Strike of Team England. This is Delta Strike's Roller Derby World Cup debut. And she here getting a lead jammer with her first jam of the game and a single point. We see the Canadian pivot here, Marge, querying something with the jam referees, but nothing changes there. The point standing 1 to England, 0 to Canada. Canada still yet to score.
Yeah, so far it's been all England all the time with lead jammer status 3-4-3 on the jammer line right now for Canada in the red. 1-2-3 Miracle Whips, and that's number 12, Alex Wild, jamming for England.
Seeing a bit of a scrum here at the outside edge as Alex Wild is knocked off track and drawn back by Hughes. Miracle Whips takes a stumble though as Alex Wild tries to run the inside line. Does stay inbounds and upright, but knocked off to the inside by number 13, Alcatraz. Miracle Whips here takes the first lead for Canada.
Yeah, Miracle Whips on that initial pass, baiting the pack from England over towards the far outside line, and then just took the inside that opened up for her. That should put Canada on the board. They do get a 1 point on that pass, 6-1 after 4 jams. Have another look here at the start. See Wild getting trapped on the inside line. Miracle Whips moving to the outside and then opens up the inside. A little hop, a skip, and a jump over the leg of Kid Block to pick up lead.
Just at the end of that jam there, Alcatraz picking up a multiplayer pot, so it will have a pack advantage for England. 4 plays 3 for the blockers.
Falcon Punch with the jammer helmet cover for Team Canada at 07. Ellis Story for England. Falcon Punch, of course, playing for Team France at the 2014 World Cup, but this year making her debut with Team Canada.
And a lead jammer here for Ella Story, making her way around the track on a scoring pass as it is Falcon Punch dragged back there at corner 1. And a Story on that scoring pass, stuck behind a braced 3-wall from Canada, knocked to the inside by number 95 Pulish, but not legally. Pulish taking a forearms penalty.
Yeah, there was a nice move to break up that pack at the end by number 3 for England, Onyeka Igwe.
It is bad news here for Canada. They are getting both Pulish and I think Bigley Smalls, yes, Bigley Smalls, going to the penalty box here. So it is thin pack. 3 plays 2 in favor of England.
Having a look at Steph Maney on the left there, number 13 for England, wearing the Jammer Star, going up against Crazy Squirrel, number 231 for Canada.
Maney takes the inside edge, then gets swallowed into a tight 2 by Canada, who are pushing Maney right to the outside edge. Maney struggling, trying to find some way past this tight 2 that is literally attached to her. And they cannot keep fighting at this rate without picking up. Yep, there's the penalty for the pivot. Here's a cut. And it's the lead jammer for Maney. That aggressive blocking there, keeping so close, was just begging for trouble, and that penalty was picked up by it as a pivot.
Yes, surgical strike number 658 for Canada, skating actually as Hughes at this tournament, now being sent to the penalty box. Had a nice battle with Just Jess on that pass previously. Crazy Squirrel now challenging a 2-wall, trying to get this pass completed. Hung up behind Faye Roberts. Pulish now coming in to rip that wall apart, but still comes back together as Terry Sudrin also in the thick of things. Star in hand for Crazy Squirrel.
The maple leaf as it is on the Canadian helmet covers. Kid block comes out and trying to break apart that brace 3 for Canada.
Nice offense from Kenichi Wow, sweeping Terry Sudrin aside, and that allows Crazy Squirrel to complete her initial pass. Steph Maney now coming all the way back to turn 3, waiting for Crazy Squirrel. Swing and a miss. Squirrel tries to get around her blockers, tangled up with Steph Maney. No points for Canada. Another 4 points at the end. It's a 19-1 lead for England. 23 minutes left in the opening half of this bronze medal matchup.
Yeah, England here working very hard to limit any Canadian scoring opportunities, and any that do come there trying to shut down as hard as fast as possible.
Both these teams playing very strong shutdown games this weekend at the Roller Derby World Cup. Both of these teams pitching shutouts in the preliminary round on Thursday. Canada shutting out Russia 291-0. England shutting out South Africa 283-0.
And here we do have Shania Payne picking up the lead jump counter, and she is very fast, using all that athletic speed there, already in on a scoring pass. Runs into a 2-wall at the front, already beats one, only on his chest. Trying to find a way past here as she's pulled right out to corner 2. 5 points picked up there by Shania Payne, as we do still have Roadrunner stuck in the pack. Canada here with an opportunity to chip away at this England lead.
Now seeing Roadrunner coming around the outside, knocked to the ref lane. Way is shut by Sarah Ekholm. Blockers from either side heading to the penalty box as Onyeka Igwe and Alexandra Evans both taking seats. Shania Payne already with 9 points. Shania Payne, of course, with a big 50-point jam this weekend in their game against Greece.
We do believe that is I know it is a Guinness World Record equaling jam.
Have a look here at the replay off the start as you see Shania Payne challenging the 2-wall at the front, trying to get around Shaolin Scarlett, and does, picking up lead.
Number 4 strike with the star versus 4-2-0 Mel for Canada. England strike slightly to the inside, runs into the brace 3 of Canada, but Mel sees a line down the outside, block at disadvantage, hurting England there. Mel lead jammer strike, still trying to find a way through the pack as Mel is already on an approaching scoring pass at corner 1. Mel engages the pack, only with 2 to beat. It is Kid Block at the front who can only do so much.
As Menace hits the deck, Mel able to get around 5 in the sky for Team Canada.
Lovely blocking at the front by Kenichi. Wow, to take strike down at the outside edge of corner 2. Mel here just skating laps, picks up another 5-point pass, and we do have the first lead change of this bronze medal game.
Yeka Igwe and Kid Block at the front. Those are the last 2 that coming down the straightaway. Mel has to beat, but knocked out into the ref lane and drawn back to turn 2. The blocker do-si-do in the penalty box for Canada as Hughes is released and Alexandra Evans takes a seat.
But Hughes, such a wonderful offensive blocker there, peeling open Kid Block perfectly for Mel on the straightaway.
Huge jam right there, 15 points for Canada, highest scoring jam of the game so far. A timeout has been called by England.
Yeah, going back over those previous games, we have had obviously the 2 semi-finals between the team. It is honours even in the first World Cup, Royal Derby World Cup in 2011. It was Canada who were the victors in the semi-final, taking the 2nd place with USA. England there taking 3rd. In the 2014 Royal Derby World Cup, England the victors in the semi-final, taking 2nd, and Canada losing to Australia in the runner-up match, coming in 4th. So as we have here after this, we do have the USA versus Australia. It is something to consider. The same 4 teams in the same 4 last positions.
I'm going to give you a quick run through of the skating officials. The crew head for this officiating crew is Dirk Koenig, joined by Freddie Mercury Poisoning, Igor Maniac, Karma, Matisfaction, Tinker Ale, Bath, Razor, and William Mollis. We'll give you a run through of the non-skating officials a little bit later at our next opportunity.
Worth noting here, the referee crew on skates are also representing around the world. This is a very international event at all levels.
Yeah, we're representing from around the world, you and I.
This is also true, yes. Wild with the star for England, number 12 against number 1, 2, 3, Miracle Whips with the Maple Leaf for Canada.
Quite a scrum start here. Whips taking the outside, does pick up lead. So Canada has found another gear right now after a slow start that was all England. It's now been all Canada for the moment. Alex Wild, though, completing her initial pass about 3/4 of a lap behind as Miracle Whips already in scoring position.
Miracle Whips tends not to look flustered when skating and didn't look remotely flustered there on that jam, picking up 2 points.
The non-skating officials for this crew. The crew head is Puppy, joined by Pretty Miffed, Deadeye, Riff Ref, Huchka, Chemical Restraint, Momo, Jumpin' Jack Smash, Speedy, Dodge Charger, Halo Jones, Bubs Maximus, Lina, and Serotonin.
Number 07, Story with the star for England. Is number 66, Falcon Punch with the Maple Leaf for Canada. Story on the inside line, stuck behind a brace 3. Hughes at the front of that, holding Story on the inside line. Story moving laterally, runs into the Canadian pivot, trying desperately to find a gap, moving Larry Cross back and forth across track. Story stuck on the back, but at the front, Falcon Punch with only 2 left to beat at corner 2. Falcon Punch on the chest of number 86, Terry Sudren, lead jammer goes.
And look how quick England switches from offense to, from that defense to offense, yes, I should say, as they immediately spring Story from the pack. The filly was by herself doing the offense, and the other 3 all come back and join and perform the sweep. Not in time to pick up points, though.
And a solitary 2 for Canada. Starting to grow a tiny lead here as they do stretch it out to 10 points here.
Yeah, around 17 minutes and a half plus on the period clock here in this bronze medal match at Event City. We've got the mood lighting happening now here. We've darkened our surroundings, and it's really put a big spotlight literally on this track and this game. All eyes on this.
2-3-1 for Canada. Crazy Squirrel. But Rogue Runner with the star for England takes lead jammer. What a burst of speed out there by the jammer to pick into this scoring pass, but popped to the inside. I think, yes, picking up 3 points, as indicated by the Jam referee. Just staying inbounds and upright to pick up the last, well, sorry, not staying inbounds and upright to pick up the last point there.
Yeah, Bigley Smalls with the knockout, and as was performing the drawback, that forced the call off there by strike. So 29-22, Canada leads, under 17 minutes left in the opening half. Steph Maney on the jammer line going up against Shania Payne for Canada.
Steph Maney stuck behind the Canadian, braced three. Again, a lot of lateral movement from the England jammers. Penalty being assessed there, but lead jammer is awarded to Shania Payne. A penalty assessed to number 19 for Canada.
That's LeBrus. On that initial pass, though, is Palmer getting in the way, preventing Katie Helvetica Black from preventing Shania Payne going through. Lots of prevention happening in this game, Malice.
And Katie Helvetica Black picking up a penalty for her trouble, so she's taking a seat in the penalty box. 5 points awarded to Shania Payne early on to a second scoring pass. Maney here on her scoring pass, not yet in there as Shania Payne calls the jam. Towards that there, Kid Block picking up a penalty as well.
Yeah, that was an elbowing penalty. Yep. And Shania Payne calling it means that Canada can start this one without either Katie Helvetica Black or Kid Block on the track.
Big losses for any team there, as it was a thin pack. 3 plays 2 in favor of the Canadians. It's going to be Mel here, number 420 with the Maple Leaf. I guess is number 4 strike for England with the star. Sitting right back on the jammer line are both teams of blockers. Mel sees the inside line, just toes down it, runs into the brace to the rainbow wall. Igwe tries to run her back but can't. Mel with only 2 beats them for the lead jammer, but still going to break away out of the pack. Does so.
Yeah, she had beaten Onyeka Igwe earlier in that pass. Now a track cut being issued to strike. This is a power jam for Canada.
Canada here hitting their groove, and that power jam coming at the right time for them as Mel already picks up her first scoring pass. Pack stationary at corner 2.
Anchored, the English pack anchored by Katie Helvetica Black. In tandem now with both Kid Block and Onyeka Igwe, who have returned. But a nice sweep by Canada, led by Sarah Ekholm, allows another grand slam for Mel. Yeah. Power jam ending, strike re-entering the track with star in hand. So right in the middle of that knot of English blockers is Monge, number 9999, that's wearing the pivot stripe.
Monge's been excellent on the offense. So excellent with the offense this weekend.
Such a smart player.
Always trying to find a position within the opposition wall to break apart the brace threes. But seeing that her teammate has been sent to the penalty box, Monge drops into the brace 3 to go to Hisa, who have had the star passed to 6'9", 5'5", Menace. Menace now is the jammer and can achieve points.
So Mel approaching the pack. Pack picks up speed. Canada seems to be willing to go along with it as Bigley Smalls standing in the penalty box.
Igwe dropping back there for the block did unfortunately give away their point in doing so. Mel there picking up a 16-point jam, and we have a healthy lead now for Canada. We do have a team timeout being
called by England.
Yeah, it is England. Well, wisely.
Right, but this is their second time out already, stopping the clock at 13:21 of the opening half, Mouse. And so that's going to leave them with 1 for the game. Of course, they do have official reviews at their disposal, should they so wish. In the game that England played against Mexico this weekend on Friday with a 308-21 victory, England had 2 successful reviews in the opening half of that game. They actually called a review in the third that they did not win, so they didn't get the opportunity to use all 4. Having a look at lead jammer statuses right now, fairly even, 6 for England, 7 for Canada.
The Canadian blocking this weekend has been so immensely strong. They have locked down jammers so efficiently of all ranges of skill set size. They've been brilliant at locking them down, holding them. This is really showing here as the Canadians have been able to lock down some world-class athletic jammers here for England and make them work. And that's going to pay dividends as this game goes on. Tire out the jammers early with long, slow, grinding jams. And then later on in the game, they are tired, and you can take full advantage.
Right. And now we're also seeing, of course, how the strategies change over the weekend. Earlier in the weekend, it was you have to, basically win and win by a lot. You need to get a lot of points because of the ranking system used for this tournament. But now we're at a point where all that matters is if you win.
Yep.
And so we're going to be we'll be seeing some short jams here and there where they're just going to be playing defensively.
Yeah, as you see Bigley Smallsett coming from the box on the offense, tries to get the jammer out, but can't. At the front, though, that timeout has worked as IX Wild has picked up lead jammer. No pass, no penalty for Falcon Punch there at corner 2. Doesn't matter as lead has already been awarded to England. Falcon Punch on a scoring pass, tries to get it in, but can't before the jam is called by Wild. And Wild looks fired up there.
Yeah, England needed those points, need to get some momentum back in this game for the team in white, the home team. But it's hard to say, is this crowd a home crowd? Because clearly there's a lot of people here that are local, but because of our fans and supporters, members of the teams from all over the world here.
It's a very mixed crowd. That is a fair comment. And Royal Derby is a sport that always likes to cheer for the underdog. And Canada here aren't the underdog. Canada are the favourites. England are the underdogs, so I think getting a healthy cheer of support. Miracle Whips
picking up lead for Canada.
Ella Story with only Mange. Oh no, Mange and Punchy to beat. Mange there is now beaten, and that is not lead jammer for Story. Miracle Whips in on a scoring pass, stuck in a scrum at the apex corners 1 and 2. Penalty being assessed to one of the England blockers.
Something we were talking about earlier off camera, of course, with teams like Canada and England. Both teams have a number of skaters that play together on their various home teams. Clearly, a lot of members of Montreal Roller Derby on Team Canada, a lot of members of the London Roller Girls on Team England. On that previous jam, you had Mange and teammate Pulish basically running that offense for Miracle Whips. They are very used to working together, clearly, but we're going to see a lot of that from England as well.
Yep. A lot of the London Roller Girls represented here for Team England, as are the Rainy City Roller Derby A-team, the All-Stars.
Alcatraz taking a seat in the penalty box for Team Canada. Crazy Squirrel, one more to beat, going up against Kip Block. Successful picking up lead jammer for Canada. Steph Maney about half a lap behind.
Crazy Squirrel with only 2 to beat, though, due to penalty box troubles for England. Kid Block, excellent work to slow down Crazy Squirrel and then maintain position.
The 3 points, though, picked up by Squirrel. Terry Sidran did a nice job there to swing around in front and just restrain Squirrel from getting those extra points. But a 3-point pickup, it's 58-24, 10.5 minutes left in the opening half.
Yeah, that big jam from Canada early on, a healthy chunk of their lead, but Canada definitely dominating in the close play as well. Number 24, Shania Payne with the star against number 22, Roadrunner. Roadrunner on the back, trying to dance around, sees a gap. Mange to the front. Mange cannot hold it. Roadrunner lead jammer.
You saw right before that contact, Mange started to lose balance and was just in the process of recovering when he had to do that shoulder hit and go shoulder to shoulder with Rogue, and that may have been a factor in Roadrunner completing that initial pass.
Roadrunner had all the momentum behind her, and Mange had nothing. Mange was barely on 4 wheels, and straight through Mange though.
Shania still going for the apex hop at the end, just in case. No points picked up for Canada, but a grand slam for England on that one. They're sitting at 29. Exactly doubled by Team Canada, who sits at 58 with 9.5 minutes left in the opening half.
Sorry, this is a good situation here for England. Is a 4-on-2 blocker advantage with number 4 Strike with a star versus number 4 20, which is Mel. And England dropping right back to the jam line. Going to make things a little bit easier. Mel being fed into her blockers, into the England blockers by the jammer Strike.
Both jammers try to take the inside line, but clearly, of course, England sees that coming, and Faye Roberts shuts the door.
Yep. Strike at the front takes lead jammer. There's wobbly work by Strike to help feed Mel into the blockers. At the front, though, number 86, that is Terry Sudrin going offensive. Hughes and Palmer unable to contain Strike, as we do have the penalty box being cleared.
Melly wanted tiptoeing around the outside line and through the inside, just getting past number 11, Faye Roberts, but that's just the initial pass.
No points there picked up by Canada. 7 for England.
Big pickup there for the home team.
Yep.
All right, seeing Jess Bandit, the head coach for Team Canada, just conferring with the head official, Der Koenig, about action on that previous jam.
It is number 07 Story with the star for England versus 66, which is, of course, Falcon Punch with the Maple Leaf for Canada. Penalty, multiplier penalty assessed against Menace. Lead jammer does go to Falcon Punch.
Long drawback now from Canada. Sarah Ekholm and Alexandra Evans bringing Ella Story all the way back to the jammer line.
And it is a back bot penalty issued to Falcon Punch.
Falcon Punch lost the jammer helmet cover and had to go back and retrieve it to take it with her to the penalty box, losing valuable seconds.
This does mean now that Story is opposed on track and can chip away at the Canadian lead, and already 5 points into that.
Yeah, Sarah Ekholm and Alexandra Evans, the only Canadians on the track at the moment, and now Ekholm set off for a direction gameplay penalty. Alexandra Evans briefly all on her own.
But now joined by Bigley Smalls, and that is quite a strong pairing that Canada can field.
Falcon Punch also re-entering play. Bigley Smalls throws out the hip, but a swing and a miss. Another 4-point pass for Ella Story. And just like that, in it, not that they were out of it, but so much closer on the scoreboard now.
Falcon Punch did go defensive there, trying to hold back Story, but didn't have much luck. Also losing the helmet cover for a second time there on the straightaway. Might be something, a little technical hiccup going on with that. Bigley Smalls on the run back though, drawing Ella Story back to corner 4.
Nice maneuver by number 95, Pulish, preventing the drawback from getting worse against Falcon Punch as everybody comes back to the jammer line as though we're starting the jam all over again.
Evans there picks up a 4-arms penalty for the melee at corner 4. Canada able to pick up 3 points in that, but England picking up a healthy 18. We are going to have an official review here from the bench coach from Central City, Ilbilly. The representation here for Team England from all over the country. London Roller Girls, Healthy Shoulder, as is Winnie City Royal Derby, Mills and Rook Royals, and of course on the bench side, Central City. We do of course have Seth Maney from Bay Area over in the States, but originally of London Roller Girls.
Yeah, it's like coming home week here at the Roller Derby World Cup. So 7-point lead currently for Canada. Having a look there at Miracle Whips, just getting ready for whatever happens after this review on the jammer line. Canada leads by only 7 points now, 61-54. Clock stopped at 5:35.
See here our wonderful volunteers, track maintenance in yellow. They're going to make sure that any damage made to the track, anything that may be a risk here for our athletes is dealt with, and also make sure that the track markings are clear. It's very important for jammers and blockers to know exactly where the track is, because you may not know, or you may not know, there's rope under here is the most important thing, because you can see it, but you feel the rope. That's when your body knows.
And of course the volunteers here as well, largely of course led by the host league, Rainy City Roller Derby here in Manchester. The hosts who have been helping put on this incredible tournament all weekend long. But there are some members of the volunteer crew that come from a little further afield. There are volunteers in the United States, Canada, other parts of the world that are part of this event, just volunteering to help put it on.
Yeah, most of the revenue here, as I said, very much from Rainy City Royal Derby. There's also one of the 4 leagues here in Manchester. We also have Manchester Roller Derby, Arcadia, and the Knights of Oldham. So 4 leagues in Manchester. We've got a healthy contingent of roller derby in this city. This is, of course, my hometown. So we have, obviously, the official review is ongoing in the middle. There is as we said before, only a slim 7-point lead now, thanks to that 18-point jam, which is the highest scoring jam so far. In jam 18 points scored. Always love some fun with the numbers. Talking about some other debutantes we have here. I mean, I believe the majority of the Canadian team, this is their first Royal Derby World Cup.
Well, yeah, there's a few people returning. People have come from different locations. Not rostered for this game, but number 88, Maiden Sane, did not play for Team Canada in the 2014 World Cup, but did in 2011, and is the only member of the current team that was on that initial team in 2011.
As we spoke of before, Delta Strike is one of the debutantes for the England squad, as is Igwe. Both of them, this is their first Royal Derby World Cup for England. A couple of Canadians played for different teams, didn't they? Echo played for Finland.
That's right. And again, Falcon Punch playing for France in 2014.
Always wonderful to know we can have all these wonderful talents from around the world represented here at the 2018 Royal Derby World Cup.
So it looks like the official review is removing a English jammer from the track, because we did have Alex Wild on the track, but now Ellis Story taking a seat in the penalty box.
This is interesting. This was the official review called by Canada, getting that jam penalty here. And this will be a really interesting situation, how this deals with the momentum that England were just starting to gain, as we do have Miracle Whips unopposed here with a power jam. We'll confirm the call details in a moment, but Miracle Whips is already out and about to, yes, is lead jammer.
Yeah, nice sidestep maneuver, getting around Kid Block and also Philly, who are up at the front. So Miracle Whip's only jammer on the track. Ellis Story is now standing in the penalty box, but already on a scoring pass is Whips, and that ought to help negate at least some of the previous momentum. Canada is swinging things into their favor.
Yeah, now already back from the penalty. Story was accused of a back-block penalty by the Canadian bench management, and it was agreed amongst the referees and officials that this was correct. That is why Story served a 30-second penalty. Canada will retain their official review with 4 minutes and change on the clock.
Whips successful on that initial scoring pass, so there's 5 points already for Canada. Initial pass not yet completed by Story, who's been driven back to turn 3 and has to work her way through this pack yet again, while Whips is on her second and now completing her second scoring pass.
Yeah, the brace 3 wall currently a bit collapsed for Canada. Very, very strong. Star quickly passed over the top to Kid Block. Kid Block is out now on her pass.
Miracle Whip's getting the call from the bench to call the jam, and does. Puts up another 4 points. No points come in for England, so that jam scored 13-0 for Canada, and they regained their lead, expanded it, I should say, back to a 20-pointer, 74-54.
Yeah, those changes and of momentum can be so important in this game, and that power jam there for Canada really just going to kill that England momentum, and we're really to see now if England can recover from that here in jam 20.
Well, less than 3.5 minutes left in the opening half. Still time for lots of momentum swings, as we've already seen in this game.
Spinning around at the back there, it is Crazy Squirrel trying to find some space. The England pack follows her to the outside edge. Igwe covering the inside. Rogue Runner tries to find space, but a brace 3 in front. Marlins bridging the brace 3 of Canada out as Rogue Runner is at the front at corner 1. Pushing. But the Canadians moving her to the inside and off track. It is a back block penalty to 6:04. Sarah Echo, who will take a seat.
Roadrunner had come so close to completing the initial pass and gotten taken through the infield, eyeing that inside line yet again, but Monge closing the door.
Yeah, Monge is so good at capturing jammers and then levering them to the line and taking them off track. One-on-one again is Monge, can't get a hold of it this time. Lead jammer goes to Roadrunner, but after 1 whole minute.
Yeah, Shallon Scarlett with a nice takeout and drawback that allowed more space on the track for Rogue. Star pass on Canada. Monge with the 4-9s in the back now has the Maple Leaf on the helmet, unable to catch the pack, so no points for Canada on that jam. Goes 4-0 for England.
Crazy Squirrel there at the front of the Canadian pack, filling in for Monge, but unable to capture Roadrunner at the front again, allowing Rogue to get those 4 on call. That dynamic switching between the pivots and the jammer, and the equitable skill set between the two is a wonderful talent amongst the Canadian squad. Shows a real strength and depth there.
Now seeing on the jammer line for England, Alex Wild, number 12. For Canada, number 420, that's Mel.
Mel at the front, braced 3, and it is the pivot, number 303, Kanichiwa getting in there, but can't do enough as it is Alex Wild, lead jammer, and out on a scoring pass over a lap, half a lap ahead here.
Mel pushing the blockers out of the way, though, to force that pack apart. Coming through, no call-off in time from Wild. We'll have to see if Canada does steal a point.
There's a little call inside the pack, difficult to be seen.
3 points scored for England on that jam. 1
for Canada. The OPR raised it, indicating a penalty from the outside edge, I believe, to the jammer for Eagle Maniac. There will be some clarification. Yes, it is the pivot kid block picking up a penalty there. I think a direction of gameplay.
Well, and Canada now using their second review of the halves. That's going to stop the clock at 55 seconds. Yeah, Freddie Mercury Poisoning, who's one of the jammer refs, actually just came over to the scorekeeper's table and indicated there was a second point. So that jam already now scored 2-3.
Well, that will be for Kid Block, who's just gone to the penalty box, as the penalty was awarded against her earlier, but it was not received by the skater, so they get the box point. And one of those ones where the referee issues a penalty early, but the skater doesn't hear it. This is a very loud, echoey venue, so it must be taken into account. Skaters are being given a fair chance to hear the penalty and then remove themselves from track.
Exactly, and what we saw like a few minutes ago from that last official review, that came at a time when England had all the momentum, and it just stopped that momentum dead, but not permanently. Canada had now expanded it. We've seen England edge back now. They're down by 15 points, 76-61, under a minute left in the half. Canada taking this another official review could very well be a tactic to help stop that momentum in its tracks.
Well, most importantly here, we've seen a lot this weekend how having momentum going into the second half can be so important for teams. In one of the games we had yesterday, the Scotland versus Wales, the first game between them, towards the end of the first half, Scotland gained a very large jam, and in the second half actually outscored Wales by 45 points. Still did not win the game, but that momentum going into halftime carried through into the second. Now you do not want to let your opposition have momentum going into halftime. You want to take that momentum, or at least keep it scrappy, or keep it slow, keep it low scoring.
Well, and England is nothing if not consistent. They have a tendency to be just as strong in the second half as in the first half. So if they can get that momentum to stop in its tracks, as it were, that could very well be useful for Canada as we go towards the second half.
And especially if they can gain another power jam out of it. Again, if Canada can carry a power jam going into the second, with only 55 seconds remaining on the period clock, realistically, they could ice the jammer in the bin going into the second, taking 2 quick power jams.
Well, it won't be a power start this time around because they haven't removed a jammer this time. Will be Delta Strike, number 4, jamming for England, and number 24, Shania Payne, with the Maple Leaf on the helmet for Team Canada.
So the Canadians do have the single blocker advantage as Kid Block is sat in the penalty box with the pivot strike.
Shania Payne had some nice speed off the front and some momentum, getting a nice shove from Alexandra Evans. Evans trying to knock Delta Strike into the infield, does not succeed. Lead jammer for England.
3 big hits on Delta Strike to the inside line. She rode every one. 360 toe stop spins. Stayed inbounds upright. Lead jammer. Brilliant work by England's jammer there.
Yeah, Shania Payne has completed her initial pass. Half a lap to go and closing. There's a shove from Alexander Evans, but it's a forearm knocking Delta Strike into the infield. Strike calls it from the ground. 1 point pickup for England.
The Canada official review from the previous jam, the query was for a forearm penalty on the England jammer. There was the no call, will stand, and Canada have lost their official review. Not really a problem here as the jam has ended. We are looking here at a 14-point game at the end of the half. Canada been very good at controlling the game here. Those big couple of jams been able to get them in a healthy lead, but England's not out of this in any way, shape or form.
No, anytime Canada starts to pull away and it looks like they've got the momentum in their favor, England finds a little bit of extra gas, a little bit of fuel to put back on the fire, and no one is in or out of any woods at this point. It's a 14-point deficit for England, 76-62.
One of the things to take into account here, this is a very experienced England team. They've been to these World Cups before. Canada haven't. Will the experience be what matters here? We'll find out in the second half. But we will have to wait and see, as we are 14 minutes out, and we will see you then, possibly a little bit before. See you soon.
From the 2018 Roller Derby World Cup in Manchester, England, I am Cecil B. Puff Daddy, and I am pleased to be joined by the MVP of the WFTDA Championships, Lady Trample from VRDL and Team Aotearoa. How'd I do on that?
Not too bad, actually. Very impressed.
Thank you very much. The reason Lady Trample is here is I can tell you a little bit about skaters, but she's played against almost every one of the skaters in the finals. Australia comes into tonight's match having beaten England 222 to 106, while the USA beat Canada 274 to 62. Very tough semifinals for both because the score doesn't always indicate how tough it was.
Oh, that could never be more true than tonight. I am super excited to see what both teams bring to the track, and I think, to be honest, I think the prediction was for this particular layout, but I mean, no one can really guess what's going to happen.
Especially since Australia comes in as the #1 seed, which was a huge surprise to everyone. So here's how we want to take a look at the finals. We want to take a look first at the Aussie offense against the USA defense. And when you talk Aussie offense, you talk about 3 people in particular: Christy Demons, Sarah Chambers, and then a group of 3 that we'll just name Stanton, Giles, and Gomez. We'll just put them all together.
Well, so that's a pretty epic Gemma lineup. I mean, so I think the thing that Australia has going for them is the depth of Gemma field. The American team do have 4 very strong Gemmas, but they are limited to 4. We've seen a plethora of Australian Gemmas represented over the track this weekend, some of which from VRDL. We've got Giles, of course, who's recently transferred to Gotham, and then some really high-level skaters from around other parts of Australia, and it's going to be really exciting to see what they can bring. Some of them have played against the American teams, and some of them are kind of forces that are unknown, which is exciting within itself.
So of those jammers that I talked about, Christy, Sarah, Giles, Stanton, Gomez, which do you think has the best matchup against blockers like Sexy Slady, Roxy Dallas, Tracy Akers, V Diva, and the whole all-star lineup of USA?
Oh, that's such a hard thing to really pin down. I mean, I would put my money on Christy Demons just based on the pure experience, and I think at these kinds of tournaments, experience is really what pays out. But there's no saying that skaters like Sarah Chambers, Stanton, Giles, Gomez, and the others can't come out with something fresh and unknown, and I think that that's going to be the real strength of the Australians this weekend.
So let's flip it over to the other side. When the USA is on the offense, you've got jammers like Scald Eagle, Bonnie Thunders, and Lauren Much. And of course, it doesn't stop there, but those are the 3 that go the most. And Scald Eagle, I think she might be well known a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard of her.
So tell me a little bit about her strengths and what makes her so good against particularly an Australian defense with like Danny Darko, Scarlett Love, and Bianca Sciaretta.
I think she's a very dynamic skater. She uses her edges probably better than anyone else in the business. The scooch and rides, those like low dips while still like staying tall and strong. I think that's going to be one of her huge strengths. I know as a fact, being on one of the VRDL skaters, that she is a force to be reckoned with. And when we played them in the Denver lineup at championships, like, she was the most successful jammer in that lineup for them. And I think that the VRDL skaters that are on Team Australia are going to be, shaking in their boots a little bit about going up against her, as will the opposite.
And Bonnie Thunders has really come back to form in this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. And again, she is one of those skaters, like, she has been doing it almost longer than anyone else in the business, and is just absolutely consistent. So I think she's going to be one that's just going to go out and kind of do her thing. And, they know what she's going to do, but at the same time, like, you can't stop it.
So give me 3 keys for Australia going into this bout.
I think what's going to be the strengths of the Australians is that they have that teamwork. So they have that team dynamic. It's probably about 80% VRDL. So they've had that structure, whereas the other teams that are at this World Cup have come together over a period of trainings. Secondarily, I think they've got the deeper jammer lineup, and then thirdly, just strategy. It's going to be interesting.
A quick key for the USA, because we got to go here.
I'm going to say experience all the way.
Absolutely. For Lady Trample, I am Cecil Beat Puff Daddy. Let's send the action back to the track at the World Cup 2018.
And we are back here for the second half of the third place game, Team England versus Team Canada. I am Captain Malice, alongside me, Mr. Whistler.
Holy cats, what a first half here, Malice.
Yes. Should we say the tail of the tape, not really the true reflection of the game? I mean, maybe actually, no, it is a pretty true reflection of the game. England here with the slight advantage in leads, 12-11. But Canada with the advantage in the scores. They took the most advantage of the leads and the power jams. There was one apiece. And it was Canada who took the most advantage of it.
No, but again, we were saying going into halftime, this momentum swings have not been maintained by either side. They've been giving and getting. So it's a 14-point lead after the first half for Canada, 76-62. Penalties are not a story of any import in this game.
Two jammer penalties, one apiece.
Yep. Two skaters, one on each team, sitting on 4 box strips. That's Alexandra Evans for Team Canada and Shalyn Scarlett for Team England. So nobody in any serious trouble.
Nope. This is very much just being a game about who can play the best derby with the skaters that are on track. It's very simple. I mean, it's one of those things that normally, you have the issues where you go, the penalty books are having a huge impact, the lead changes having, or the power jump. This is just who is better at blocking jammers, because most of the players are staying on the track.
No, so what we're going to have to see is what's different in this second half. England, normally a very consistent team from first to second. See what kind of adjustments they will make after halftime to take that momentum back and hold on to it for longer.
One thing I've noticed here, something we don't often see, the benches have not swapped sides. England preferring being at corner 1, which is where most of the action happens, which is maybe a tactical choice here by Il Billy. Canada seems to be content at corner 4, which does mean they do have the best position to ensure that their blockers have the back line. Interesting.
It is interesting, actually. And for the most part this weekend, people have been swapping benches at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, there is advantages in both camps on that side, so something that we would, I personally will have to try and get in contact with the bench management for both teams and try and find out.
What are you doing?
Yeah, this is what I love about tournaments of this size, seeing people who have different tactics, different things they prefer to do, and seeing how that impacts gameplay. Seeing something like this here, a team preferring to be in line for all their players and bench management where most of the action happens at corner 1 and 2 is something that's interesting. Maybe Canada were like, we want the back line all the time, and England were quite happy. Maybe tactically England prefer the front line. These are things and questions that we do not have answer to right now, but it is definitely something here that is a deliberate choice.
Anybody who is watching out there, hop on to Twitter at the hashtag RDWC2018. Talk amongst yourselves. What do you think that all means?
Maybe you're a bench manager somewhere around the world who goes, you know what? I love being at the front. I love being able to see all the action happen right in front of me. We do not. But yeah, hashtag RDWC2018. tell us all what you're thinking. As we are 30 seconds away here from the start of the second half. A blocker apiece in the penalty box.
Having a look here at Miracle Whips and Rogue Runner waiting on the jammer line. Everybody's ready to go. We just have to actually wait for the halftime clock to run out. The people want to get this one back on the road.
It's worth noting, these are, high-level athletes. They cardio, the strength, everything they've got there is fine. They were already. I saw England ready to go with 6 minutes left on the halftime period. There was no tiredness in there. They're not breathing. They're ready to go. And here it goes. Rogue Runner was ready to go. Lead jammer goes to England.
Miracle Whips hung up between turns 1 and 2, getting tangled behind Yeka Igwe. Still has to get around, trying for the outside line. Cannot find purchase over there. Going airborne, Rogue Runner clips a wing, though, and has to come all the way back to turn 1 and try that pass again.
Yeah, the yielding rule change there definitely making a big, wonderful, beneficial difference to everyone involved. Miracle Whips completes her initial pass. Rogue Runner gets the 4 points and calls the jam. Yeah, the yielding rule is so beneficial for this sport because sometimes you do accidentally re-enter. Being able to go, you know what, that wasn't what I intended to do, let me yield this position is so good for the sport. Again, we are an evolving sport and it's important to be evolved in the right ways.
An explosive start to the second half there for Rogue Runner, and England now sending Steph Maney to the track, going against number 420. That's Mel for Team Canada.
We do have a single blocker advantage for Canada as the braced 3 tripod rotates, knocking Steph Maney out to the outside. Bigley feeding Maney into the brace 2. Maney bulls around though, gets stuck up on Palmer, and Marge quickly getting in a place to recover as Maney is knocked to the inside, as is Marge. Palmer and Bigley with the run back.
Mel already lead jammer and already completing a scoring pass for Canada. There's a grand slam. So there's 5 points, taking the momentum back already that had just been picked up. And now on a power jam, Steph Maney in the penalty box.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Sarah Echo, not Palmer there with the run back. My apologies. As we do see Mel picking up even more points in the second 5 there for Canada. And here we have a quick killing of that English momentum straight away. Mel sees a gap on the inside, only one to beat, runs into Sudren. Sudren unable to stop it. 1-2 from Sudren, and Black though does knock Mel off track. And here Kid Block supported, does again knock Mel off, but this time to the inside. Maney back on track up against Polish and Bigley. Bigley and Polish at the front. No pack call quickly. Bigley and Polish do yield the position, allowing Maney out. Big jam for Canada. 15 points. Stretching out this lead now to 25.
91-66, 27.5 minutes left in the second half. Again, this game for the bronze medal here at the 2018 Roller Derby World Cup. Shania Payne on the jammer line for Canada. Delta strike number 4 for England. England taking the back wall off the start. Shania Payne trying to pierce apart that triangle. The friend coming in, that's Shaolin Scarlett. Offense not able to be a factor right now as everybody tangled up. Shania Payne does break 3 though, dropping Shaolin Scarlett in the turn between 1 and 2.
Yeah, Kenichi wow for Canada getting involved in the tripod while doing enough to disrupt it. Seeing the pivots utilized quite a lot offensively by Canada. Marge and Kenichi wow both doing some wonderful work for their nation. Forearms penalty picked up by AAA Shaolin Scarlett.
That'll be trip number 5 to the penalty box for her.
Worrying potentially losing a skater of that ability as we do go into what could be a very hotly contested second half.
And 3-2 pack advantage right now for Canada. Canada has Hughes in the box. England has Onyeka Igwe and Shaolin Scarlett in the box.
Wild though with the star for England against number 66 Falcon Punch with the Maple Leaf, and it is the Maple Leaf and Falcon Punch out front first here, lead jammer Canada. But Wild is out as well very quickly, going around corners 3 and 4, chasing down Falcon Punch.
All of a sudden, Kid Block, the only English blocker on the track.
And Marge picking up a penalty. which is being explained by the head referee to both Marge and Bigley. Contested by Marge. I think clarification. Marge, though, understands and does take herself to the box.
Some penalties are more complicated than others.
And I like the fact that even at this level, the referee is more than happy to explain the decision-making process because the question is asked in a respectful manner.
Oh, and an illegal procedure penalty right off the start, sending Ellis Story to the penalty box for not having a jammer fielded in time. It appears to be what happened.
Oh my, that is an unfortunate penalty, and England, they're digging a little hole for themselves.
Yeah, not sure what happened there and why there was a delay. They were doing a jammer swap out right as the start whistle went. So already 10 points picked up here by Miracle Whips. Rogue Runner now completing the initial pass. Nobody saw Rogue coming on that apex hop. Whips coming up and challenging. Challenge Scarlet Kid block. Calls the jam. Unable to pass either of them, but gets the other 3 points. So it's a 13-0 jam. Canada now out in front by 50, 116 to 66. 24 minutes left in the second half.
Yeah, England this second half, something has gone amiss here. They're not as good at firing as much as they were in the first. One of those situations where they do need to regain momentum, but only the one timeout available to them. Not something they can easily get involved in and try and recover the situation. Wild with a star, though, doesn't see a problem, takes a lead jammer for England. Opens up the gap, all hers.
Crazy Squirrel jamming for Canada, still trying to complete the initial pass to knotted behind 4 English blockers. Now seeing Philly coming back, just enough offense to spring Alex Wild for a grand slam for England.
A single blocker advantage here for England. They're going to make the most out of it. Roberts at the front with Kidd block and Philly. The formation not quite in place but effective as we have a cut track by Wild. And here we have a chance for Crazy Squirrel to just destroy whatever lead was created there by England. Sorry, whatever gain there was there for England.
Exactly, 4 on the floor for Canada as Alexander Evans re-entering the fray. Coming up to run some offense for Squirrel. Just does not quite connect with Faye Roberts. Faye Roberts has been a beast all weekend in the pack for England.
All weekend, all year. Faye Roberts has been on fire for quite a while now.
Alex Wild is standing, waiting to be released, is now released. Sarah Ekholm and Bigley Smalls laying in wait, challenging the jammer, feeding to Polish, the pivot, number 95 for Canada.
Shuffle whistle, 4 arms penalty for Palouche. Palouche has heard the penalty, nods and goes. Wild go back on track, completes that second scoring pass for 4 points.
Still have 20 seconds left on the jam clock. Squirrel, a little backwards skating, doesn't quite see Katie Helvetica Black coming, who performs the knockout, but is able to re-enter it. That was the initial pass for Crazy Squirrel. That took 1 minute and 50 seconds. That lockdown from England, so effective.
Yeah, something about this jam. England are coming up with a bit of fire here. They're really going to work hard. As Alex Wild, I think, inspired by that quick lead from Alex Wild, and England's blocking has stepped up a gear here. They need to. I mean, that 13-point jam here is a good jam for England, but they are still, I mean, we're talking 37 points behind.
No, but I got to say, I'm quite impressed by that performance by Alex Wild there. Getting that initial pass, getting that scoring in, taking the penalty, and then recovering, and still going up 13-0 on the end of that jam.
I mean, credit where credit's due, though. The English blockers holding the Canadian jammer so long, so effectively, is such a wonderful thing. And here we have Rogan that takes the inside line for lead jammer. Mel stuck, still in the pack. Loose 3 in front of her. And we've got Mel being recycled back as Rose already in on a scoring pass.
Momentum does certainly seem to be in England's favor right now.
Number 19, LaRose Morelli can do so much, really just positionally, but we do have a star pass here. And it is going to be 95 Palouche with the star. Was a Maple Leaf. Rogue runner in. towards the jam from the inside line. 2 successful jams for England. The crowd behind them. As I said, England are the underdogs here. They are currently ranked lower than Canada from the rankings from this weekend, and roller derby loves an underdog.
Yep. I mean, roller derby fans love lead changes. They love all of these momentum swings that we're seeing right now. An 8-0 jam, England at 87. Timeout now being called by Canada. They are taking their first team timeout.
I'd love to point out the perfect clock management there from Jess Wenner, giving as much time for her team to rest as possible, waiting to the last possible to call for the timeout. So what I like to see, clock management is such an underappreciated element of the bench manager's job.
It is an art form, and indeed, this is a perfect time for it, because over the last 2.5 jams, we've seen the momentum swinging back in England's favor, and Canada now trying to stop that pendulum in its place so they can grab hold of it and take it running.
They did this in the first half with official reviews, which meant they did not have to use their team timeouts. All 3 still to be used for Canada. Well, 2 more after this.
Having a look there in the lower right of your screen, the entire team, Canada, joining at the bench, just getting their bearings, figuring out what they're going to do. England, meanwhile, has had their 4 blockers and their jammer for the next jam on the track during this entire time out. England fielding Delta Strike. Canada's going to be sending Miracle Whips back out to the line. The England pack here is 2 of the Reigning City Roller Derby and 2 of London Roller Girls. So equal representation between the 2 larger leagues is representing England. Strike, of course, for England as well, for London Roller Girls as well. Canada leads by 30, 118-88. 20 minutes left in the second half. Another lead jammer status going to England. Delta Strike through. Miracle Whips, though, about a quarter lap behind.
Miracle Whips with good pace. Canada dropping right back to pick up Story, who calls the jam not picking up points.
That gamble pays off as the blockers come back to meet the jammer rather than trying to evade and save points. They challenge her. She hits the deck and is unable to score.
Palmer there clipping with the hip check, which knocked her to the floor. Lovely work there from the Canadian blocker.
Ella Story on the jammer line for England. Falcon punch for Canada. Canada with 1 in the box. That's Hughes, so it's a 4-3 pack advantage for England. Seeing the English tripod coming back to greet the jammers, and they have now surrounded Falcon punch. Story out towards the front. This wall is falling apart. Canada's going to have to let her go shortly if they go out of play. Pack now catching, though.
Forward penalty assessed to Menace. But lead will be going to Story if she stays, and she does stay inbound on that right.
Very strong effort, but a forearm penalty for Falcon punch. Team England on a power jam, and did they ever need something like this more than they get it now?
This is only their second of the game. There's a strong four wall out here for Canada. They're all strong, but this one has Marge, Bigley, Ekholm, and Hughes. This is a very powerful Canadian wall. They stop Story dead. Here comes the offense from England from inside to out, trying to break apart the Canadians. They do disrupt them. Ekholm, though, with the forearm illegally knocking Story up to the inside. Marge with the front with Hughes trying to pin down Story at the inside edge. In this time, though, it is number 66 Falcons back from her penalty. Marge goes for a sit down for a direction of gameplay. And Story calls the jam.
That jam going 10-0 for England. Now they're back to within 20 exactly, 118-98. Under 18 minutes left.
As we said before the half, momentum here is very important, and England have gained this momentum now at a crucial period. The power jam there giving them a little bit more. They need to carry this momentum on. The timeout by Canada unable to change this. They are unfortunately, though, conceding a couple of penalties here. It is a 3-on-2 in favor of England, but Wild only has the 2 to beat. And I think it is a back block penalty for Wild.
Yeah, contact against Palmer, going to send Wild to the box. Momentum is a fickle mistress, as they do say. It's one of those weird things, momentum going back and forth. 24 number is Shania Payne, lead in the driver's seat on this power jam.
And only Kid Block really to beat there, as we do have a full box for England. 2 seated now, as Wild is standing. Canada are goating at the back. Kid Block alone at the front and can only do so much. She drops back to find her teammate as Wild is re-entering the pack, being jockeyed from side to side. Forearms penalty issued to the Canadian blocker, which is number 303, Kenichi Wow. Kid Block at the front with menace, leaning that weight down on Shania Payne, driving her into the deck. Shania Payne driving forward on Kid Block. Kid Block smiling as she blocks here, or grimacing. Either one would be perfectly acceptable, because that is a grueling task for England's pivot.
Oh, Alex Wild finding that inside line, and that's that initial pass. Shania Payne, though, putting up another 4.
Wild now is on a scoring pass. Shania Payne is lead jammer and calls it from the deck. There's Kid Block there with the saving block. But how many points did it save? Igor Maniac is conferring with the OPRs to agree on how many points are going to be issued. Razor and Igor Maniac at corner 4, deep in discussion. They're going to go to the scoreboard, and nothing. Igor Maniac confirms no points picked up on that last pass. Excellent work there by Kid Block, saving a few more points.
Again, a Shakespearean game happening here right now.
Shakespearean?
Highly Shakespearean. Rogue Runner and Mel standing on the jammer line. Timeout has been signaled.
It is an official timeout, not a team one.
We do see Jess Bandit conferring with one of the officials in front of the Team Canada bench. We also see, actually, we're seeing that Shania Payne is being attended to trackside by one of the medics at the Team Canada bench.
At the engagement there at the pivot line, you did see as she returned to her wheels, Shania Payne touching her face. I believe there was some incidental contact in the blocking there. It wasn't an illegal penalty, there's nothing wrong with that, but it was some incidental afterwards, as it were.
But the momentum swings again, going back and forth so frequently in this game. Canada up by 34 points, 132 to 98. 15 and a half minutes left in the second half of this bronze medal matchup.
As you said, momentum a fickle mistress here, and this is obviously now swung back in favor of Canada. But it's only one jam away for it to go back. But here we have a penalty being issued
to Mel.
To Mel. I believe the penalty will probably be issued here to Shania Payne.
Oh,
Shania Payne is being treated by the medics. Mel will sit it for her. Obviously, the penalty will be awarded to Shania Payne, but Mel will be the one who's actually serving the time. And this is the third power jam for England. And we see a change in lineup here by Canada, throwing out some powerful and very, very talented blockers.
Yeah, they're going to mix things up so that when Mel is released from the penalty box serving Shania Payne's penalty, that Mel has people to work with in that very specific situation. This is not something we see happen super often, but of course, yes, if the jammer is injured or, and therefore is not able to skate in the next jam,
yeah,
here we are. So, Rogue Runner all alone on the jammer line.
And everyone's down at the pivot line.
And a full box for Team Canada. No, I apologize. One sitting, one standing,
one
plus
jammer.
Mel. So there'll be 2 blockers on the track for Canada to start.
It is Kenichiwa. Kenichiwa straight out as well. So Canada only short stack briefly. Hughes unable to get the run back and draw the cut. And it is a lead jammer as expected for Rogue Runner and England.
Yeah, Sarah Ekholm now re-entering play as well. So all 4 blockers have re-entered play for Canada. Rogue Runner knocked to the infield.
Yeah, 1-2 punch as Ekholm hit with the first, knocking Rogue Runner off balance, and Hughes there mopping up with a little shoulder shrug, just taking Rogue Runner down the inside and drawn back the full length of the straightaway to corner 4. Mel is back on track and spotted by the England blockers and drawn to the outside by the braced 3.
Multiplayer block penalty is sending Kenichi Wow to the penalty box.
who only just returned at the beginning of this jam, as Mel is out on a scoring pass. Roadrunner trapped there in the Canadian blockers. Her arm trapped in the middle of them, but unable to twist out of the way. Could have been a very awkward situation there, but happily, no injuries. Jam called. 4 points for England, 0 for Canada on that jam, and a 30-point lead here for the Canadians.
Yeah, but Canada's starting to run into some penalty trouble in the last couple of jams, repeatedly having multiple people in that box at any given time, and they're going to need to keep that box clear if they want to maintain this lead or possibly expand upon it. England's making a lot of noise right now. They're sending Delta Strike to the jammer line, going up against Miracle Whips.
Philly on offense for England, trying to peel open the 2-wall. And doesn't do enough, but a big there.
And Miracle Whips called on a low block. This is now going to be a power jam for Delta Strike in England.
And the crowd roars with anticipation as Monge is braced. And Monge draws the back block from Strike.
The crowd are not necessarily approving of that call.
It is an interesting one, as Strike did have established position and trajectory. Monge moved slightly into it, I believe more turning her back into it than actually approaching that established trajectory, therefore drawing the back block. Showing the experience that Monge has, that it is fantastic. It's proven to be why she's been so effective for Canada this long weekend. Monge still in the mix there, blocking on Strike. Peeled off by Kid blockers. Strike tries to round the hips and shoulders of Kenichi Wow. 1, 2, 3 Canadian blockers go into Strike. Strike down at the inside, slow to recover her feet under her, but does so. Being fed in this time by 1-0-1-7 Bigley Smalls. As we do have the Canadian jammer Miracle Whips outscoring. We obviously now have both jammers have been in the bin, so we have no lead for the first time.
No, so this one is running the full deuce. Both jammers are going to have to keep going for another 23 seconds. Miracle Whips on her second scoring pass. Delta Strike, I believe, on her first at this point. Miracle Whips completing a pass. Yes, that's a grand slam for Miracle Whips. That'll take Canada to 141. Delta Strike still getting recycled again through the infield, this time again by Bigley Smalls.
Yeah, Strike here moving a lot, so I think she took a bit of a knock there at that stumble down on the straightaway. One thing to consider, going back to the conversation we had just before the jam started, and Canada's penalties. In Canada's game against France was very penalty heavy. They got very scrappy and it rattled them. A very close game. It looks like Canada seems to have sorted that out that jam, but it's something to be watching out for. If Canada does get scrappy, they can fall apart very quickly. And it's not something we ever like to see here, but it is something that could be exploited by England.
Well, Canada still has 2 timeouts to use. They do have their official review for the half. If they need to start dealing with the scrambliness that we've seen a bit in this half, might be coming in the next couple of jams.
Yeah, direction of game penalty picked up by Hughes there. Rowan are already on a scoring pass with only 3 to beat. And we do have some wonderful offense here from England, completely disrupting the Canadian wall, allowing Rowe to get out, pick up 4 points.
There's Roadrunner taking a 4-0, and looks like England's going to work on chipping away at this lead for a little bit. They're not going to start taking risks and running it long just yet.
Yeah, 8008 Gaz there having a conversation with one of our infield referees about something they have felt in the track. Nothing does appear to be changing, so that information may be taking the ball but affecting no change. Again, it's done in a respectful manner. Everyone's happy to communicate. We only deal with what we see, as we do have number 420 Mel up against Alex Wild. Alex Wild at the front on a brace 3. Philly here bridging the pack. Alex Wild knocks to the outside, but doesn't get knocked off track, but does get lead jammer. Alex Wild stopping there, I think, unsure if they were being assessed as a penalty.
No, yeah, so there's a brief hesitation, but did not come back to haunt her. Now putting 5 in the sky. So Alex Wild having a very strong weekend and a very strong game, putting up 5 points. Mel being recycled through the infield a couple of times. Can't quite get around the lead blockers, and now is being taken all the way back. And once again, that's Faye Roberts.
Katie have a look back and Kid block in the bin for England. both picking up a fair chunk of penalties, but I don't think we're in any real concern for those two just yet. They're not quite close to 10. We do have a star pass over the top to Monge. Monge again, we're at the pivot stripe now with the maple leaf.
Canada's been using the star pass sparingly, but it is effective in getting England to stop their jammer. Official review, I believe, being, no, a timeout, my apologies, being called by England. So England using their last team timeout. That's going to stop the clock with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, and of course they can use the official review as a timeout if they need to with the 9 minutes left. It is being a little quick add to the clock. It is 9 minutes and 14 seconds.
24-point lead for Canada, 143 to 119. That lead is tenuous.
It is, but worth noting here that Canada are using this time effectively as well. You can see there is discussion and quick line swap outs. We do have vastly superior lead jammers to England, 9-5 in favor of the home nation.
It's very even in the first half, though. England 12, Canada 11 leads. So England in this second half controlling the play a lot more. It's mostly, I think, been the jammer penalties that have prevented that momentum that they've had from something they can take full advantage of.
Of course, when there has been any issues, the Canadians have been much better at making the most out of it, which has maintained this 24-point lead.
So Shania Payne is back and in action, having sat out for 3 jams at a minimum, going up against Rogue Runner on the jammer line. 9:14 left in the second half. Again, this one for the bronze medal at the 2018 Roller Derby World Cup.
And the Canadians here with a 4-on-3 blocker advantage. And they're going to pin Rogue Runner down at the back. Rogue Runner goes down.
Down and back. There's nowhere to go to get around Bigley Smalls at the back of that pack. Up at the front, Shania Payne pushing. Onyeka Igwe has to give up. And that's the lead jammer for Shania Payne in Canada.
And Rogue Runner here keeps getting knocked down at the back of this pack. Do have a penalty assessed to Bigley Smalls. Heading to the bin. Rogue Runner now able to get through, completes her initial pass. Penalty again being assessed here to Onyeka Igwe, who's now taking the circle box. So it will be a 3-on-3 for the blockers. 2 points picked up by Shania Payne. Nothing for England there. Excellent work by England, limiting the scoring opportunity.
8 minutes left in the half. And yes, in the penalty box for Canada is Bigley Smalls. For England, Onyeka Igwe. These two skaters, coincidentally, both former members of Toronto Roller Derby in Canada a couple of years ago. Bigley Smalls now with Montreal Roller Derby. Onyeka Igwe now back in London with the London Roller Girls. And back with lead jammer is Ella Story for England. And a forearm penalty called on Miracle Whips. Ella Story on a power jam for England. Under 8 minutes to go. This is a huge opportunity for the home team.
Yeah, did not see the incident around corners 1 and 2. Would love to get a replay of that as Ella Story picks up 5 points. Ella Story picks up a second scoring pass. The crowd roars its appreciation.
And Ella Story going to go back for more. They are not going to try to ice Whips in the box. Whips is standing about to be released.
Well, you've got to remember, Whips here is only still on their initial pass. So there is more opportunities to score here for Story and to chip away at this Canadian league, already down to just 16 points.
Yep, that is definitely the right call to keep this one running.
But this is also worth knowing that we do now have a full complement of Canadian blockers. And as we see now, Ella Story at a dead stop.
Whips getting sandwiched between Philly and Kid Block at turn 3. Roberts also in the thick of things, as is Onyeka Igwe. Whips finding the outside line. That is that initial pass. 30 seconds left on the jam. Ella Story looking over the shoulder, is going to call it before Whips can get any points. The 14-0 jam for England. They are now only down by 12 points, Malice.
It is worth noting here how much the crowd is behind England, because you did not even need to be a bench manager, because the crowd was screaming at Story to call it. Who needs mirror benches when you have the crowd?
6 minutes left, 145, 133. Roadrunner and Nell are waiting on the jam line. Canada again calling a timeout at the end of that 30 seconds between jams.
Feeling maybe that change of momentum. Killing some clock is a great way to kill momentum.
Well, and that is exactly what they're doing here. Like, they're not coming back together as the entire team here to have a little meeting. Having a look at the crowd, it's getting a little bit rowdy up in the stands.
It's going to get rowdier for the final, of course. But you've got to take care of potentially overthinking the issue before the jam starts is very, very dangerous. We do have both teams here sat. There's the English team talking amongst themselves, the Canadians mostly just waiting. Roadrunner lined up behind her teammates. We have Mel here just kicking around on the skates. They're just waiting. The Canadian fans in full voice as well as the English here. We have 5 minutes and 55 left on the clock. Jam 16. Giving a point of how low scoring this is compared to some of the early games we've had. The highest scoring jam so far in this game was the 18-point jam in the first half for England. So far, England only scored 14 points in the last jam. Here's the highest scoring for the second. Canada, 15 in both halves. And we had the 50-point jam for Shania Payne in the game against Greece. So you see what context here of levels. But we have Rogan trying to take the outside line, trips, goes over. It's a low block penalty, sorry, a multiplayer penalty to Roadrunner.
So power jam for Mel and Team Canada.
A multiplayer, not one you see given often to jammers, but when they're trying to get through on whips, that grab becomes an unbreakable link, and that is where you get your multiplayers.
Yeah, we have seen that a fair bit this weekend.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of whips this weekend as well. 5 points for Canada, takes them to the 150 mark.
And the box has filled up for England, although Roadrunner is now in a standing position. So only 2 blockers on the track for England. And Shaolin Scarlett teaming up with Just Jess. They are able to take Mel back through the ref lane. Recycling through the infield now, courtesy of Bigley Smalls on Roadrunner, who has re-entered play. Roadrunner still on the initial pass. Mel with 10 points already, going back for more.
It was wonderful there. When they tried through the run back, you saw that Marge was waiting, loitering with intent as they tried to run her back, and immediately stopped Just Jess there, so they couldn't run her back as far as they wanted to. A further 4 points picked up by Canada, and all that good work done by England in the previous jam undone here in one power jam.
Roadrunner trying to hop the apex through the inside, tumbles across it instead. Now has to go back behind Bigley Smalls, who is skating backwards towards turn 4. Onyeka Igwe simultaneously taking Mel back to turn 4.
We do have again the braced 3 of Canada locking Rogue down at the inside. Star pass trying to be made over the top, and it is made to Gaz. Gaz with the star, but runs into Monge. Monge are waiting there, ready for it to lock her down. We do have a recovery by the Canadians and the run back now. Monge again showing that experience, waiting for the pivot. Jam comes to natural end.
A valiant effort by Mel trying to maintain position, but a 24-point jam.
Biggest of the game.
On that pass. And if you're going to pick a time to pull out your biggest jam of the game in the last 5 minutes, that's as good a time as any, Malice.
I mean, we stretch that now, a 26-point lead for Canada. Never going to be an unassailable at this level, but definitely one that will have to make a significant change, as we have Canada with an official review.
Well, I'm trying to see here if that's actually Canada's review or England's review. And actually, no, it is England's review.
It's England's review. It's the scoreboard that is incorrect, then. I think.
So England's going to be challenging, possibly they're going to be challenging the points or the pass by Nell at the end of the jam. She kind of blew a tire as she was skating backwards along the outside line, kind of in front of the penalty box. Did get the points on the pass. And they could be either looking to review the points, they might be looking to review the legality of that pass.
Currently seeing no change in lineups. No one is going to either bench to discuss anything.
And we're going to be back in action. Clock will restart at 3:49 to go. A 36-point lead now for Canada. Bronze medal is on the line. 169 to 133.
So use liberally this half. Alex Wild with the start for England.
Jamming for Canada is Falcon Punch. England has done a nice job in this game of holding Falcon Punch in check and to get her tangled up through the infield again. Alex Wild only has one more to beat, and Palmer and does lead jammer England, and the building erupts, Malice.
Well, as you've noticed here, the crowd firmly behind England as the underdogs. And Alex Wild has been very impressive this weekend and doing wonderful work here in this run-up game. One thing I just seem to realize that we've not seen much of Stephanie Maney here in the second half.
We know we have not, and
almost talismanic for England for so many years. Obviously, maybe carrying a knock. This is a long weekend, a lot of hotly contested games. Potentially carrying a knock. Maybe her style not working too well against Canada, but it's something is worth noting. Then not seeing much of talismanic England player.
Well, Ella Story on the jammer line for England. Shania Payne for Canada. 2:40 left on the period clock. Ella Story burst to speed on the outside line, but knocked over the line and taken back by Bigley Smalls. Shania Payne, one to beat, picking up lead for Canada.
Yeah. And Bigley Smalls able to bring her right back thanks to Monge as well. Do have the pivot for England in the bin. And initial pass completed by Story.
These two jammers very evenly matched, very similar skating styles for both Shania Payne and Ella Story. Shania Payne's going to run it short, takes the 4 points. Little slow on the call-off, though. A steal of 1 by Ella Story.
Yeah, this is, you got to take into account, that was Hughes leaving the penalty box and re-entered into the pack and therefore was eligible scored on. And the point was already there because Story was already in front of her.
173 to 137. Numbers that are not palindromes but have similarities. 140 left on the period clock. Canada in the lead by 36 points. Mel on the jammer line taking on Delta Strike for England.
Clock management is not something England can affect here. They have no official use, no timeouts, but they do have a lead jammer and a power jam with it. Forearms penalty to Mel.
Holy cats, Malice. Canada getting up towards the front. Labrosse anchoring the 3-wall. Kenichiwa trapped at the back, so Strike already scoring.
Strike does need to call this jam before the period clock ends. And personally, I would say with Mel iced in the box to have a real chance here at winning. But it is not. Mel has been released.
And Mel's going to run some defense here. Tries to take Strike into the infield, but does not succeed.
England currently 31 points behind. 45 seconds left on the period clock. We will get one more jam, and England need this to be a power jam. They need this to be a power jam quite a lot, as they do have a 29-point differential to beat. They need 6 unopposed full Grand Slams.
Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have also not happened. I
don't think we've seen 30 points scored on Canada by anyone this weekend. The USA, did they score that many? I don't think they did. Not off the top of my head. Stats will obviously tell us if we're wrong. Back on track though, we have Wild, and another power jam goes to England. A multiplayer block issued to Crazy Squirrel. A lead jammer to Wild. We have 1 minute and 42 on the clock. Wild needs to score 30.
Yeah, the jammer in the box actually turns out to be Shania Payne. There was an entry error on some paperwork, so Shania Payne now standing in the penalty box. We are just on jam time. Alex Wild still on this first scoring pass, trying to come around the outside. Bigley Smalls looking to lock things down in the middle. A forearm penalty being called on Petit Polish, who's going to be heading to the penalty box.
England call the jam on their terms, as Canada are looking here to take bronze. Things not going too well in that jam, as England did have 2 blockers in the bin, and very difficult to get 30 points on Canada when you're giving up 2 blockers to the Canadians. This is our unofficial final score. Currently, this will be tallied and made sure to be correct. But I think we can say here Canada most likely taking the bronze here.
Well, I mean, the 3 roller derby World Cups thus far, it's been the same top 4 teams, but in different positions every year. Canada finishing second in 2011, finishing in 4th in 2014, and looks like they're taking the bronze here. England taking 3rd in 2011, finishing in 2nd in 2014, and for the first time now finishing in 4th.
So over the previous 3 roller derby World Cups, these 2 teams have finished in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yep, the only one left for either team now is to take it all.
Yep.
So we'll have to see what happens in the next roller derby World Cup. Coming up after this game, of course, you're not going to want to miss that, is going to be the gold medal match between USA Roller Derby and Team Australia. But this one is officially going into the books as a bronze medal victory for Canada, 173 to 147. You've been watching the 2018 Roller Derby World Cup. I'm Mr. Whistler.
And I'm Captain Mallison. We've had lovely sausages with us.